The quest for a renewed purpose. A marriage shattered by betrayal. The quest for a renewed purpose in my marriage took an unexpected turn, uncovering a shocking betrayal that shattered the foundation of our 23-year union. My wife, Sophia, slept with her young colleague because he was handsome, while I was just an old man. I'm a 54-year-old man and a father of 3, Ethan, 22, Lily, 19, and Noah, 16. My wife, Sophia, is 48, and we've been married for 23 years. But for the past 4 months, she's been cheating on me with one of her colleagues. Sophia had been a stay-at-home mom ever since our second child, Lily, was born. Her life was busy raising 3 kids, but when the children began moving out one after the other, her life became quieter, even lonely. It all came to a standstill last year when our youngest son, Noah, moved away for high school. If you look at it from her perspective, it's easy to see why she felt lost. For 2 decades, she dedicated herself entirely to raising our children. They were her only priority. But now, with all of them out of the house, she seemed to lose her sense of purpose. I tried to fill that gap, but it wasn't easy. While she was relieved of her motherly responsibilities, my work was far from over. I still had to provide for their education, which required me to work even harder, especially with the rising cost of college and high school fees. To help with her loneliness, I suggested she get a job. Initially, she wasn't confident about joining the workforce after being out of it for 20 years, but I encouraged her and motivated her to learn new skills. After a couple of months of trying, she landed a back-office job. At first, she was nervous, but soon she fit right in with her team. I saw her becoming lively again, looking forward to workdays. She had found something to focus on, and it made me happy to see her regaining her sense of purpose. A month into her job, she upgraded her wardrobe to trendier, tighter clothes, joined a fitness club, and got a salon membership. She explained that she wanted to groom herself to fit in with her younger, more fashionable coworkers. Being chubby and old-fashioned made her feel out of place. At the time, none of us raised any red flags. It made sense. But I started feeling uneasy when she began criticizing me. She pointed out my not-so-flat belly and outdated fashion sense, pushing me to follow her diet, get fit, and wear trendy clothes. I knew she meant well, but the way she pointed out my flaws felt insulting. She'd poke my belly, make faces, and joke in a way that hurt. Things worsened when she started rejecting intimacy, saying, "I don't want a potbelly humping on me." Her comments made me feel humiliated, so I stopped trying to be intimate with her. It's not that I like being out of shape, but I had bigger priorities. I was juggling the education expenses of 3 kids, the household budget, and everything else because she didn't contribute financially. Despite having a job, all her earnings went into what she called personal development, gym memberships, salon treatments, and new clothes. On top of that, she continued using my credit card for her purchases, spending freely on salons and trendy outfits. When she poked my belly for the first time, I promised myself I'd lose some weight. I started jogging and doing basic exercises, but as her resentment grew, I lost motivation and gave up. In fact, I ended up gaining a few extra pounds. This has been going on for the last 4 or 5 months. Fast forward to yesterday. Sophia texted me, saying she'd be late because she was out with her coworker. Partying late had become her routine for the past month. At first, I used to call her to check in, but now I've stopped. Around 2 a.m., I heard her car in the driveway. She sneaked into our room, changed, and got into bed. I pretended to be asleep, but I wasn't. Everything seemed normal until I noticed her wet hair. She hadn't showered after coming home, which meant she had done it somewhere else. Her back was turned to me, and I saw her texting someone. She glanced my way, likely to check if I was asleep, so I shut my eyes tight. A few minutes later, I sensed her getting out of bed. I waited for her to come back, but she didn't. Instead, I heard whispering from the living room. I quietly got up and sneaked out to check. The room was dark, but I could hear her soft giggles and phrases like, "I love you," "Oh my God, I loved it," and virtual kissing sounds. I don't know what came over me, but I stepped into the room and asked calmly, "How many rounds did he screw you tonight?" She froze. It was too dark to see her face, but the sound of her voice stopped abruptly. Her phone lit up, and I think the call ended right then. I turned on the reading light near the couch where she was lying. Before she could say a word, I said, "Don't bother lying." I heard everything. How long has this been going on? She didn't try to deny it. She simply said, 2 months, maybe 3. So all those grooming sessions were for this? To get screwed by your coworker? She started crying, but then we heard another voice from down the hallway. Bloody hell. It was my youngest son, Noah, stomping his foot and cursing under his breath. He had heard everything. We had completely forgotten he was home for the weekend. Sophia got up, yelling at me for bringing this up in front of him. I didn't mean for Noah to hear any of it, but I wasn't in the mood to defend myself. I followed her to our bedroom, shouting back that she deserved to be humiliated. Her phone kept buzzing, and I forced her to call him back in front of me. I want to hear your sexual talk. Do it. Just do it in front of me. I want to hear how you moan for him, I demanded, completely losing control. She turned off her phone and started sobbing, calling me crazy. Looking back, I feel insane for what I did. I was destroying myself, asking her humiliating questions like, did he go down on you? Did you blow him? How many times did he screw you in one night? Front or back? Her only response was, stop it. You're humiliating me. Noah is home, for God's sake. Stop this. Realizing my anger was spiraling out of control, I grabbed some beer and whatever alcohol I could find, then locked myself in the garage. Within a few hours, I drank myself into oblivion and passed out. When I woke up this afternoon, the house was silent. I went to Noah's room, but he was gone. In the kitchen, I found a note stuck to the refrigerator. It was from Sophia. I'm leaving. This is the best for all of us. She was gone. I tried calling Noah, but he didn't answer. Neither did I hear from my other 2 children. No calls or texts. I wasn't sure whether to call them and tell them the truth or wait to speak to Noah first before deciding my next steps. As for Sophia and her new life, I didn't know where she had gone, nor did I care. I was too dazed and heavy-hearted to think straight. Thanks for all the support. That was the lowest point of my life, being abandoned by a cheating wife and dealing with it the next day. The day before yesterday, I drove out to meet Noah. He had already told his sisters everything. My eldest daughter, Emily, who lived farthest, was driving to pick up Olivia, my middle child, so they could come together. I asked Noah if he wanted to come home and discuss things as a family. He said he didn't want to see Sophia. I assured him she wasn't home and that the 3 of them could stay with me while we sorted things out. He nodded, agreeing to come back with his sisters. Later that evening, they all arrived. Noah looked better, but he and Olivia broke down in tears while hugging me. Emily, being the eldest, stayed composed, though I suspected she was putting on a brave face. They asked about Sophia. I showed them the note she had left. When they asked what was next, I said, Sophia has made her decision. I think it's best for us to move forward. I'll be seeking a divorce. Emily spoke up like an adult, saying she wanted to talk to her mother to understand her perspective before making any judgment. I agreed, telling her I'd be glad if she did. They asked me for more details, how long this had been going on and how I found out. I told them everything. Emily decided to call Sophia. After an hour in her room, she came out and said Sophia had moved in with Alex, the colleague, but wanted to meet the children. Noah and Olivia flat out refused to meet her, but Emily said she would. I made it clear I wouldn't interfere in their relationship with their mother, as she would always remain their parent despite what had happened. For now, Noah and Olivia are staying with me. Emily left because she had to return to work. My 2 youngest are doing everything they can to keep me going, and I'm so grateful for their love and care. Almost a month after D-Day, Emily texted me, saying she would be visiting that weekend, and asked me to keep my schedule free. She explained that Sophia was already regretting her decision. Apparently, Sophia and Alex had gone on a trip where she realized her mistake. Alex had turned abusive, and she had no place to go. Sophia wanted to meet me but didn't have the courage to reach out, so she asked Emily for help. I agreed to one final conversation but made it clear that reconciliation was off the table. When Sophia arrived, I was shocked. Her neck was covered in bruises and hickeys, marks Alex had left on her to claim his territory. These weren't symbols of love, they were signs of forceful abuse. She broke down, confessing that her coworker had manipulated her into thinking she deserved better than a pot-bellied husband. Alex made the first move, and she hadn't stopped him. She admitted she was drawn to his aggression and wildness because it was so different from my gentle nature. Now, that same aggression terrified her. Alex had turned violent, forcing himself on her without consent. She begged for forgiveness and pleaded for another chance at our marriage. I stood firm. You mocked me, belittled me, and left me without remorse. I cannot consider reconciliation. She cried, pleading for the sake of the family and our 23 years together. Please forgive me, she said. I replied, you've been a great mother, and for the sake of our children, I might forgive you someday. But you will never be my wife again. I'm moving forward with the divorce. She sobbed uncontrollably and left shortly after. Emily came out to say goodbye, but Sophia had already driven off. Now, I'm left with mixed feelings. Should I feel bad for Sophia and the situation she's ended up in, or should I feel relieved that karma has taken its course? For now, I'm focusing on moving forward with my children by my side. I've contacted a lawyer, and the divorce process has begun. What are your thoughts on all this? Let me know in the comments below.